I always struggled with the perfectionist concept, like get it right the first time. And I think learning to make a decision and go forward, and you can reserve the right to change your mind, is completely acceptable.
100%.
And I think just being young at the time and thinking, A, you need to prove yourself, you're trying to show your worth for
Yep.
whoever you're working for. Like, I just always wanted to put my best foot forward and never mess up. And everybody knows you learn so much when you mess up,
You
you
do.
make mistakes.
Hi, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the Name Drop podcast. Today, we're sitting down with an entrepreneur in the HR space. We're going to be talking about all things HR, a lot of misconceptions in this area today, what it's looked like to build a service business that services in this space, and some great tips on leadership development. So, hope you guys enjoy the episode, and thanks for tuning in. Okay, so we're going to start with some rapid fire questions. No answer is a bad answer.
Okay.
Okay. What's one thing on your bucket list?
Oh, a whole month in Italy.
I love that.
Pick every city, no matter how small, how large, see it all, live with people I don't know, eat all the food.
You have to do this.
Yes. Yeah,
Amazing.
honestly, I would probably do that with most countries.
Yeah.
I think spending a month anywhere that's not your home, I would be all about.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
If you could be famous for anything, what would it be?
Oh, gosh. I think an artist. I mean, like a Monet, like someone that just is beautiful and you walk in the room and it just gives you like that soothing feeling,
Mm-hmm.
peace, calm. And then I guess like well known, but it's not so much for that, but just like it's a piece of art.
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah.
like that. Like I've not done it, but they do the flower exhibits over at the museum, like anything like that, like people that are just creative like that. It's just I'm envious of it.
Yeah. Just to be able to make something beautiful. Yeah.
And it just stands the test of time.
It does. That's
I
pretty
mean, like,
cool.
do you like sit on a wall for hundreds of years and you're something special? I mean, that's amazing.
I agree. What was your favorite TV show as a kid?
Saved by the Bell.
That's a good one. It's a good one.
No, I mean, I think, gosh, it's so different now. Like, I think sitcoms like that, you know, and then I even think like Saturday morning cartoons are not anything that my kids know. So I even think of like the old school, like He-Man and She-Ra. I mean, who watches that anymore?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I just think anything that is levity in a situation is great. I mean, Saved by the Bell just comes to mind because it was something fun.
It was fun and like not too serious and
right.
Yeah.
And
we don't have a lot of that today.
No.
It's a lot of like guts and violent and serious topics, and the world's ending, and it's like, oh, this is stressful.
Yeah, or it's a lot of not that there wasn't some of this, but just so much drama.
Yeah.
Like there's enough of that.
Yeah.
Like to watch it on TV all the time, I feel like it's like then your anxiety level goes up a notch.
Definitely. Yeah, I could not agree more. What's your go-to coffee order?
Oh, a non-fat caramel macchiato usually.
Okay.
I like caramel.
Yep.
I'm not a big chocolate in my coffee person.
Me either.
I mean, I'll do it. I'm not going to turn it down. It's caffeine.
Yeah.
If I had to pick, it would be caramel macchiato.
If there was a movie based on your life, what would it be called?
Oh my gosh. It's okay. So nothing's off limits.
Nothing's off limits.
Get shit done. It would be a giant checklist of how many things I'm trying to get done in a day. Oh, it's funny. Maybe not a movie title, but I'd gotten asked at one point, like, what's a bumper sticker that you would name after yourself? And I was like, that would totally be it. And it would be like a winding road of like when you wake up in the morning and when you go to sleep at night and you're like, how many pit stops along the way am I going to get made? And how many things am I going to get done?
Yeah, to just get through this. Yeah.
Just get through it.
Yeah.
It's a mix of home and personal and friends and work. And like, I look at my calendar and I'm like, I don't know why I do this to myself.
Yeah. Or even now, I sometimes I just go with the ignorance is bliss route. And
Yeah.
Andrew will ask, like, what do you have going on tomorrow? And I'm like, honestly, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm going to find out
Right.
when I start the day, I guess.
Yeah. Get up and look at my
Yeah, like it's
calendar and see
there.
what's
It's
in
all
there.
there. But
Yeah.
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 So without telling us who you are, what's top of mind for you professionally right now?
Oh, I think for me, the biggest thing is we're still going through a shift as to how people see our profession. So you see things like they're the compliance, or it's the admin police, or, there's somebody coming in and making us follow the rules again. And I think that I'm trying to work on shifting that mentality that part of our profession is that, but we're having to shift from that to helping managers be coaches and connectors for their teams and advocates for cause. And it's such a shift from tactical to more relationship driven and strategic. And, without revealing like who we are and what we do, like that's been a real fight for our profession over the last 50 years, and we're not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish we were, but we're not. I mean, you just, have to strive every day to hopefully make a little bit of progress.
I've noticed what you're posting on LinkedIn. I see.
Yeah.
You're trying.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it. Brag about yourself. What are you really good at?
Oh, so we talked about creative. I'm not a good artist. I could pull some things out that I wouldn't want to show to anybody, but I actually make really elaborate cakes.
I love that.
So like the fondant and the
Yeah.
buttercream and all that. So like I am an avid baker.
Okay. Have you always been?
Yeah,
Okay.
it came from my grandmother.
Okay.
So I skipped my mom, totally skipped a generation. My grandmother was an amazing, amazing baker. So I think I learned it's an art and a science. So like I learned the science side of the baking from her, but not the artistic side. A lot of that I think just was an innate thing that I cultivated. Like I took classes.
Wow.
So, I mean, I've done everything from like, the 3-tier Sesame Street with all the creatures, Cookie Monster, to ones covered in flowers. But it was it was a good outlet for me
Yeah.
that's so different than what I do professionally that there's no wrong answer. I mean, don't get me wrong, some of them can look pretty ugly, but but it was an outlet.
Is there like a type of cake that's your like specialty?
No, I like them all. Like on the baking side, I like to make different flavors all the time. And then the decorating part, I'm more inspired by what people want me to try.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I mean, now with, Pinterest and the internet and everything, it's like, hey, send me a picture of what you're looking for. And I've, done all kinds of crazy. Did one that was like a melted ice cream cone.
Wow.
Like,
Oh,
just
you're good.
all kinds
Yeah.
of fun stuff. I don't
That's
do it as much
awesome.
as I used to because I don't need to eat them. I need them out of my house. So
I love that.
I need people to pick them up.
I love that. That's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
What has been the most pivotal moment in your career?
I think realizing I wanted to work for myself.
Yeah.
I think for me, those of us that have gone down that entrepreneurial route, like I don't think I started out thinking that that was going to be my path at all. It was, I think it was just an epiphany one day, realizing that I was going to go from career to career, job to job, and it wasn't still going to be fulfilling
Mm-hmm.
the way that I wanted it to. And I think I just hit that point where it was like, okay, well, then you've got to chart your own path and you've got to figure out what that is.
Yeah.
And, it's terrifying and exhilarating at the same time. I mean, for me, my kids were very young. So it was like, okay, maybe I should have done it earlier. I should have waited 10 years. But I think that was probably just realizing that what you wanted was going to be a big, scary thing and you had to jump off the cliff at some point.
Yeah. Yeah. And was there a specific moment where you had that revelation, or was it just a series of things where one day you finally were like, you know what? I got to go do something different.
Yeah, no, I think it was I could think of a pivotal moment, but I do think that there was a series of things that happened. So I think one of the things for me was, was working for a company I really, really loved. Like, loved the mission, loved the cause. And I think when that's great and you don't like the work,
Mm-hmm.
that was a realization. I think also working at, and recently it had like a CEO change. The leader wasn't the right leader. And I think realizing that I was still going to keep going through that experience no matter where I went to work was one thing. And then at the time, I also, my first business partner had decided to go out on her own. And I did what we're doing now on the side with another company for like 10 months before I
Okay.
bought in. So I was that classic of like, dip your toe in before you jump.
Sure.
And I think if I hadn't have done that, I don't know that I would have been ready.
Yeah.
So I think this is a couple different things for sure.
Yeah. What's a piece of advice that you received earlier in your career that you still think about today?
I used to always think about the worst case scenario all the time, and I would get to that point where I would freeze. And I think the best advice I ever got was from one of my mentors. She played that game of like, what would happen next?
Yeah.
What would happen next? And you'd finally get to the end of those series of questions, and she's like, what would you do? I'm like, well, I would just do this. And I was like, oh my gosh, why don't I do that with everything?
Yeah.
So I think that was one bit of advice. The other bit of advice that I got that was amazing is I always struggled with the perfectionist concept, like get it right the first time. And I think learning to make a decision and go forward, and you can reserve the right to change your mind, is completely acceptable.
100%.
And I think just being young at the time and thinking, A, you need to prove yourself, you're trying to show your worth
Yeah.
for whoever you're working for. Like, I just always wanted to put my best foot forward and never mess up. And everybody knows you learn so much when you mess up.
You do.
Make mistakes. So I think the best bit of advice was just make a decision. You can wake up tomorrow and make a different one.
Yeah.
I mean, don't change your mind every 5 minutes.
Right. But you can always change it.
Yeah, you can always change it.
And that's the beauty of
Yeah.
being the one making the decisions to a
Yeah.
certain extent too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think just realizing those two things was really, really helpful.
Yeah. Those are good ones
Yeah.
for sure. And what habit do you have or have you cultivated that you feel like has helped contribute to your success?
I think one of the biggest things I've tried to really do is, it's a really overused word right now, but I'll say it, it's just transparency where you can be. So I think I probably overshare to a fault. And sometimes that oversharing can be when I can tell them and when I can't tell them something. And I think it's, same mentor, it's what we called put the pink elephant out in the room, is what she used to call it. And I would say, look, I know y'all would want to know the answer to this, and I can't tell you the answer right now because of A, B, or C, or I don't know the answer. And I think just putting it all out there as much as you can has been one of the biggest things that I've ever done. And then said, ask me questions. If I know the answer,
Yeah.
I'll give you an answer. If I don't, I'm going to tell you I don't.
Right.
And then I'll commit to letting you know when I've got some more clarity around it. And I think just over communicating, probably to a fault sometimes.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's been really helpful. And I think it also plays into that, a good leadership quality, I think, of just being vulnerable.
Yeah. I agree.
You don't have to know everything all the time.
No. Who does? Yeah. Who does?
And I think that comes from me personally, working with people that always acted like they knew what they were doing would grate all my last nerves.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just go, it's okay if you don't have the answer.
Yeah. No.
It's not a weakness thing.
No. And it's more important to just have the skills to be able to figure things out versus always knowing. I mean, how can you be? Yeah,
And just asking questions.
for sure.
I mean, I think the other thing is asking my team constantly, all the time, like, what do you think?
Mm-hmm.
What would you do? I mean, and I think one of the greatest gifts that I get from them is they will actually tell me.
Yeah.
I mean, and it knocks me on my butt a couple times.
Oh,
you
yeah.
know?
Sometimes you're like, I actually didn't want to know that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
thanks for sharing.
But I mean, I think that if you want the buy-in and you want them to
Yeah.
follow you, like you need them to feel like that they can speak up.
Definitely.
And I've thrown some crazy ideas out there and they've been like, absolutely not. Like, all right.
Like, fair enough. We're not going to do that. Okay. Okay. What other qualities do you think are important in a strong leader?
Um, I think listening. I mean, I've said that a little bit. I mean, I think probably picking up, I can be pretty chatty. So I think like listening is a really good thing. I think it's also an openness to new and different things. I think it's great to have a path and know where you're going, but I think being open to listening to what other people are experiencing is really, really important. So I think, like with our team all the time, like I'm not in the weeds of what they're doing all the time anymore. So the only way I know what they're experiencing is you got to tell me.
Yeah.
So I've got to make space for that. And I got really great feedback earlier this year. Like, Erin, you need to spend more time with everybody. Like we're
Yeah.
checking in and we're doing staff meetings and all these types of things, but like you need to spend some more quality time with everybody. I was like, good. I needed to hear that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, I agree. Especially as you remove yourself from the work or get further from the work, you're only going to know if you ask questions and if you make time
Yeah.
to try to listen and understand.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that gap can get big, and
Absolutely.
pros and cons to that,
Yeah.
for sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And I think it's like most things, you're trying to balance giving other people the space and the autonomy to do their jobs and do it
Right.
really well. But you also want them to feel supported and lifted up,
Mm-hmm.
that they've got what they need. So I
Mm-hmm.
think, I say all the time, like, you don't know unless you ask.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Now,
very
if they
true.
don't want to walk through the door and they don't want to share, I mean, I kind of do the whole, well, there's not really a whole lot else I can do.
Yeah.
But no, I think those are the most important things, is just being open and vulnerable and listening and, not being stuck in your ways.
Yeah.
The whole, what got us here isn't going to get you there kind of thing. Or
Right.
this is the way that we've always done it.
Yeah.
I mean, where we're at now compared to where we were 5 years ago is a completely different spot.
Yeah. Yeah. Which is good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
You learn a lot.
You do. You do. What relationship has been most impactful on you professionally?
Oh, so I've got a couple. I think the mentor I mentioned a couple times when I went to my first rodeo of consulting was extremely impactful. Very senior leader, really great at giving feedback, wonderful at lifting people up, but also being honest about what you needed to work on. They spent so much money investing with me on leadership training. So, like, to be in your late 20s, early 30s, and people pour into you like that, like, I will never forget that. And that was like the hugest gift to get at that point in my career than, in my 60s.
Right.
When I get there. Like, I think that was a huge moment. And I think the other one, and she's going to be so embarrassed I'm going to mention this, but one of my coworkers that I joke, I've dragged her with me to like 5 or 6 different places now, is the opposite side of my brain. And it's a coworker. And I literally could not do what I do without Britt.
Yeah.
I mean, she's the other half of like my work wife, whatever you want to call it. But like, just to have someone that looks at things that's aligned to how you think, but so differently with how they go about that. Like, it's the whole yin and yang concept. I wouldn't be able to do what I do without that. And I think, there's plenty of clients, friends, other people that have worked in other businesses that have poured into me that, just to get that feedback and a perspective, again, you have to ask, has been a huge value add.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So tell us who you are and tell us about your business.
So I'm Erin Spencer. I'm with Edgebrook Lane Consulting. We do fractional human resources consulting. So for us, that looks primarily 2 different ways. We're either people's entire HR department if they don't have one, or we provide supplemental project or training support. So we're fortunate enough that we work with companies from coast to coast. We've got clients everywhere. Amazing team. There's not a whole lot that you can't touch in HR. We just have to figure out the best way to partner with our clients to help them meet their business goals.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you're the founder and CEO.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
You keeping that under wraps over
Yeah.
there. So what motivated you to start the business? I mean, you mentioned before you wanted to work for yourself, but
Yeah.
what motivated the concept of Edgebrook?
Yeah, no, I think that the pivotal moment for me, I think, so most of my career I had worked with smaller businesses. So what I mean by that is they were under like 500. They weren't huge businesses. A lot of them privately held, some
Yeah.
of them family owned. And I think the thing that I saw just early on is how important it was to have all those right components involved in a business. It might not look the same as a large corporation. So, like, as an example, like working in a business that didn't have a good marketing infrastructure or didn't have a good finance setup, or maybe they didn't have an IT partner. And I think I look at all of those as like the piece of the pie, and HR is a component of that.
Right.
And I think just seeing when smaller businesses don't have the same resources as larger ones, it just has to look different. We were filling a need that I just was seeing over and over and over again. Like, they don't need to pay a full-time person when
Right.
they're at this inflection point as a business, but to have a subject matter expert that they can lean on to get the advice that they need, like there was a missing niche for it.
Yeah.
And I think that just the problem solver in me, and then just seeing that in so many of the businesses that I was a part of, wanting to solve that was just top of mind. And honestly, just because I'd been in HR for so long, it was an easy thing to start
Right.
an HR consulting
Right,
business
right.
too, because I mean, I'd done it before.
Yeah.
But I think it was just wanting to help other owners, get from here to here.
Yeah. Yeah. And how long ago did you start the company?
So it'll be 5 years this fall.
Exciting. What a
Yeah,
milestone.
I know.
What's been the best and worst part?
Oh, goodness. I think the best part, I didn't go into it thinking how big of a team we were gonna have. Like, did I want 5 people, 10 people, 50 people? So I think that that's been the amazing part. I knew I didn't want to be on my own. I knew I didn't want to be a one-person show. So I think building out and getting to build the team has been one of the best parts of it. I honestly, this sounds really bad. I don't know that I've got a worst.
Yeah.
I think figuring out so many aspects of running a business, none of them have been bad. It's another challenge that you've got to figure out how to solve. I mean, I wouldn't say it's the worst part. I think the hardest part for us in what we do is probably figuring out how to scale what we do, because you're in a client services thing. You've got clients' projects that end. I'm the sole person, doing a lot of the business development, which, is exciting, but then terrifies me, if I'm honest. Like, I walk around and tell people a lot, like, being the single point of failure sometimes can be an intimidating thing.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't say that it's the worst. I think it's the one that's most top of mind for me as we continue to be in business, is what's that next iteration for us on the business development and the sales side of things. I think we've got the model down pretty rock solid at this point. But we're also facing new challenges where we haven't done this in a long time, but we're getting more and more larger clients where we've got to put more and more consultants on a project as a team, which that's a whole nother layer than when you've got one consultant, working with a client and a great coworker as backup. It's a whole nother game when you've got to coordinate. Like, we've got one coming up that for us, it's a big deal. I mean, billing 60 hours a week, that's a lot for us.
Yeah. Yeah. That is a lot.
It's going to be multiple people, and, we have to figure it out.
Yep. Yep. And what does that coordination look like on the back end? Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Efficiency, but effectiveness. And But, if I'm like jump feet first, the team
Yeah.
might freak out and I'm like, it'll be fine.
We got it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I can relate to scaling a services business.
Yeah.
It's hard. When you get to a certain point, you have to start just continuing to figure out ways to replace yourself to a certain extent,
Right.
but do that in a sustainable way and not too quickly,
Yeah.
but not too slowly so that you aren't the blocker because you don't
Right.
want to be the blocker. But it's always a choice then of like, where do you invest and what is the next big challenge to solve for and
Yeah.
what's going to get us to the next level? So it's not easy.
No, it's not. And I
Yeah.
remember this was probably just right at 3 years ago. We made one of our internal staff the director to kind of help me be more over the team because I was finding in our world we were getting more like compliance related questions and not so much the strategic side of HR, but a lot of the compliance, legal, and I wasn't as close to it anymore.
Yeah.
And I was finding I was the bottleneck
Mm-hmm.
on everything. So back to an honest team, like we told them all that and we were in the meeting and they were like, well, thank God it's about time. And you're
Like,
like,
woo.
okay, well, I guess this was all right.
Yeah.
But I think my reason for bringing that up though is I started to have some more free time. Because I mean,
Yeah.
all of a sudden I didn't have 6 or 7 other people
Right.
calling me for things that they needed, and I'm like, what do I do?
Yeah. It's uncomfortable, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think it was a lot of we equate our worth with how busy we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you're not busy in the same way, it feels different.
It
It's
does feel different.
uncomfortable.
Yeah. I had this a couple years ago and I was like, I'm not thinking of something. Like I was so anxious that I had some massive blind spot that I wasn't thinking about because
Yeah.
why was I not like insane busy like I always am insane busy, right?
Right.
And it puts you on edge when you're so used to moving at a certain pace.
Yeah.
And then you have to remember that it's just the ebbs and the flows because, fast forward it's even 3 months later, I think I was like back to being crazy again because you find other things to focus on
Right.
to grow the business,
Right.
which is what the job is. But because as the entrepreneur, there's no roadmap for it, you have to then go figure out,
Right.
well, what does my next
Right.
evolution of my job look like?
Yeah.
And what things do I actually have to pay attention to now?
Right.
Which can be hard sometimes,
Yeah.
honestly.
Well, to your point, it's uncomfortable. It's a growth
Mm-hmm.
opportunity. It's a gift in the fact that you've got the space and the time to spend on it again. When you're, running more in the rat race.
Yeah.
You don't see things as
No,
much.
no.
You've got more blind spots, but yeah, no, it's all very accurate and true. And I think, I'm always looking for the next best thing, always questioning what we're doing. I mean, I think that's what you've got to do to stay relevant.
Totally. So what do you think is the biggest misconception about the HR space today?
Oh gosh. I think for us, it's interesting. One of the biggest questions we ask now of prospective companies that we're going to partner with is like, what's their perspective of HR? Like, what does this mean to you? And we get such a wide answer. Because, you get everything from, it's legal, compliance, rules, policies. They're the ones that lay people off.
Mm-hmm.
They're the ones that help, promote. I think the biggest misconception to answer your question is it can be very deep and wide, but when we look in, AI is obviously becoming a thing. Looking at us as a strategic partner to grow their business is huge.
Yeah.
And I think that you've got to appreciate how we can help you move forward with your people. And it's not all the tactical things. And I think the other misconception, especially, I would say this is more with employees, is that they think that we can control things that we can't.
Yeah.
And I think,
can you give an example?
Yeah, no, I think, so back to when we've asked companies, like, what do you think of HR? One of the common questions that we get asked is, well, can you be an escalation point if we have an issue with an employee? Like if there's something going on internally. And I said, yes, but let me clarify. So what I mean by that is your employees can absolutely come to us, as I dub the counseling office. But at the end of the day, them coming to us and it's staying behind a wall,
Mhm.
not addressed, nothing's done with it, we're contributing to what potentially can be a toxic culture.
Yeah.
We're not having direct conversations. We're not solving the problem, we're enabling it. And
Right.
is that what you're looking for? And they'll go, well, no. And I'll go, well, then this is where you've got to understand that HR is an influencer.
Mhm.
We're a conduit. We're there to help participate and have those conversations. But at the end of the day, this is between you and the employee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, we're absolutely going to tell you the legal ramifications or the
Sure.
cultural ramifications, or yes, CEO, you can do that, but they might,
Here's what this could look
right,
like,
this
or
is
what
what it
the
could
yeah,
look like.
yeah.
And I think that sometimes the employees look to us like we've got, as a silver bullet, all the answers, and we're really from a place of influence, and that we can't always fix everything all the time.
No.
And I think it's, we also can't tell them that we may have given all the advice and the counsel and suggested to management what they should do.
Right.
And management decided to go and make a different decision.
Yeah.
We're not in a position to go and tell the employee they didn't listen to us.
Right. Right.
So
Right.
I think that there's that misconception with employees, that they think that we don't have their back, that we're
Yeah.
not trying to advocate for. It's always a sticky place. I mean, you're literally you're trying to be neutral territory, but
Yeah.
you're also trying to tell management maybe when they're being a little ridiculous, and you're
Mhm.
trying to tell employees
Mhm.
the same thing. So I think it's a big misconception that
Yeah.
we're going to be able to solve everything, and we just can't.
No, I mean, you're the referee between how to make it work with the
Yeah.
people side and then the business structure and goals and
Right.
ambitions, and those things don't always fit,
No. And
honestly.
I think one of the other things that, we try to do is, you don't want companies to get to a point where they're feeling like, they're constantly hiring the wrong fit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with coaching people out. Like, if
Yeah.
the business and the philosophy is this way, and the employees' compass, beliefs, values are somewhere else, it's totally fine not to be on the same page
Yeah.
and part ways.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people look at what we do like it's so black and white. And I'm like, that's just an honest conversation.
It is. It
Like,
is.
support the person finding another job where they're
Right.
going to be happier.
Right. And it's not necessarily personal either. It
Right.
usually isn't, honestly. It's
Yeah.
just misalignment. And that doesn't mean there can't be a great fit elsewhere.
Sure.
But I know it's much
Yeah.
more emotional than that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're trying to balance what seems like level and rational rules and regulations that are very black and white with humans who
Right.
are emotionally sensitive
Yeah,
creatures.
absolutely.
I mean, we're trying to balance that with EQ and empathy and coaching and everything else.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess this is why half of our profession goes and gets coaching degrees at this point too.
Right,
So,
right. It makes sense.
yeah.
It makes sense. And how have you found being a female founder? Is that something you think about, or is it not part of your
Yeah.
identity? Like, where do you sit with that?
No, I think situational, I'm sure, as it
Yeah.
probably is for most. I think that it's always enlightening to walk into a room and feel extremely supported in certain instances, and then other times walk in a room and every other woman in the room looks at you like your competition.
Yeah, yeah.
And you're like, wow, this just totally changed. I mean, I still think I deal with what most women probably deal with if you walk into a room and you're the minority
Mm-hmm.
from a gender perspective. Like, I still struggle with that sometimes.
Yeah.
But on a day-to-day basis, not as much. I think, and not that I would say it's easier, but just so much of our profession is female-based anyways.
Mhm.
So I don't know that I personally feel like we face as many of those challenges, just because we're very women gender heavy as a profession in general. But
Yeah.
there's plenty of times I walk into networking things or other events and you're like, oh, here we go.
Yep. This is going to be interesting. Yeah. And to your point before, whether it be because you're the gender minority or maybe not,
Yeah.
there's a flip side to that too. And
Absolutely.
certain, like, I have found female groups can be just have a weird tone to them,
Yes.
depending on how the culture of some of these groups are set up. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it's interesting.
It is. I mean, I think, and it's as you would expect, you deal with both sides
You
of it.
do.
You deal with the support side, and then you deal with the negativity, maybe
Yeah.
is a word, or competition. And, but then I think the thing I always have to remember as I go into every situation, I'm trying to work on not having a preconceived notion
Mm-hmm.
of what it's going to be like, because the older I get, the more I'm learning. I'm so pleasantly surprised.
Right. Yeah.
And I just have to keep remembering that. And I think it's back to my earlier comment about like worrying. And now it's like, just leave the worry at the door,
Right.
walk in the room, see what's going to happen. And then to walk out and go, that went nothing like I thought it was
Right.
going to. And it was so much better than I could have
Yes.
expected.
Or if it didn't, okay, then I'll respond at that point in time
Right.
versus like hypothesizing on what it could be like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I totally understand that. How do you keep growing as a leader? What types of things do you do?
Yeah. So I think I'm always so recent peer CEO group, spend a lot of times with other people that are CEOs and founders too. I read a lot of podcasts. I think it's just asking a lot of questions too. And I think the biggest thing I learn are from people that are in other industries
Yeah.
and other spaces that are not our space. Because I think that you can learn so much from other people that are in totally different situations than you are.
I agree.
Like, I mean, I love to pick people's brains that are, in more of a products driven world than they
Right.
are service driven. But I love my friends that are in service driven industries because they get it, So I think and then finding out what they're dealing with in the market.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a group that I run that most everybody in there is either some kind of client facing or BD role, and just asking them what they're dealing with.
Yeah.
Some of them are owners and founders. Some of them are people that are, out there hitting the pavement, and it's just being able to ask.
Yeah. And you can learn a lot just from those
Yes.
conversations.
Yeah.
Totally. So what's next for Edgebrook Lane?
Oh gosh, I think I talked about the project-based work. Like that's been an initiative for us to go and work with some larger businesses and be able to do that work. I think being able to see yourself in that light, which this is an Erin problem, this is not a team problem. We've also been doing a lot of work lately in doing more HR technology type work, which is another iteration
cool.
for us.
Yeah.
Back to what the market's telling you, there's not a lot of consulting firms that have got an HR tech focus and like the 20 employee to like couple thousand market.
Yeah.
And they usually don't have the internal bandwidth to figure it out.
Yeah.
So that's another thing I've been really keeping my ear to the ground on. So those are probably the most top of mind things for us. And then, you always want to keep executing on what you do well.
Yeah. Yeah. You have to. The bread and butter.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. How do you stay on top of what's happening in the industry and what people are needing, looking for, like the technology component, for example?
So I think it's making a lot of friends in that space, honestly, and asking them what they're seeing and what they're experiencing. I've learned a lot of that too. Another group I've got, it's just HR professionals, and asking them what they're dealing with. And when you keep finding the same things bubbling up, that's normally when you find out, okay, maybe I'm onto something here.
Yeah.
So I think just both of those, and then, listening to industry professionals, going to conferences, anything that you can hear out there on it is just, it's data.
Yeah, it is. Taking yourself out of the day-to-day a little bit to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think it's top of mind. I think we won't get into 2025 because it's been an interesting year for people for lots of reasons.
Seriously.
But I think one of the things that I think's also even become evident with our clients is, how can we do more with less? Because I think the market, it just being as crazy as it's been, has created some hesitancy. So for us, that's been like, let's talk about optimizing what you do have on the tech stack space from HR. Like, you don't need more people administratively spending time on it. Is there a way to capitalize on what you've already got in-house. And
Right.
we're finding we're getting a lot of work that way right now. Because
That's
I'm like,
great.
if you don't have to increase headcount,
Yeah.
they're not large enough where AI is typically becoming a huge component in their business on the HR side yet. That's much more prevalent in larger
Yep.
companies. But it's like, what can we do to make you run quicker and faster?
Yep. Yeah. So that you don't have to go hire full-time
Right.
employees. Yeah.
Or take away from internal
Yeah.
staff
Right.
spending time on it, especially as a small business.
Totally.
I mean, they're wearing 1,000,001 different hats
Mhm.
all the time.
Mhm. Absolutely. At 21, did you ever think you'd be doing what you're doing today?
I had no idea what I was going to do at 21.
What were you doing at 21?
Well, it's so funny. I was in college. Obviously, it was actually the year 9/11 hit.
Okay.
So talk about the world being upturned,
Mhm.
left around sideways. I went and got my degree in marketing. Had no idea what I wanted to do. Ended up, I'd worked in retail for years, took a transfer to DC, of all places,
Okay.
ironically, with the timing to finishing school the next year, and just went and worked. I
Yeah.
didn't know what I wanted to do, and I applied to 1,000,001 jobs, and at 21, 22, I got recruited to be a recruiter. So how I got into HR was I was on the talent side.
Interesting. Yeah.
Only reason I got a call is I went to school in Georgia, and so did the president. I mean, she admitted
Sometimes
that.
that's all
I mean,
it takes.
she's like, you
Yeah.
went to school where I went to school.
Yep.
And they also recruited people that had been trained by our retail company's background. They did a really good job of manager training, so they would cherry pick people off that way. It was a talent strategy for them. But yeah, I just got picked up and got pulled into this work. It wasn't, I mean, I went and got certified and got
you're like, sure.
educated and everything
Yeah.
else, but it wasn't like I charted down that road thinking that was what I was going to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the journey took you from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And just kept falling into great opportunities, hunting them down, learning along the way.
I love it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, where can people find Edgebrook Lane and where can people find you?
Yeah, so we are edgebrooklane.com. All the socials, we're on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. Follow Brooke Lane. She's a really fun comic strip series that kind of pokes fun at what we do in HR with a detective lens. But yeah, active on all the sites and engaged in the community and speaking engagements and all those things too.
Yeah, you're doing all the things. And you're on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. This was great.
Absolutely.
And congrats on 5 years.
Thank you.
So exciting.
Yeah.
All right. So you guys can find us on Instagram at namedrop.pod and I'm at Malbakes. Thanks so much.